Hey guys, Jared Codling here with a new hack every week, and this week's hack is targeting rich people. And the reason we want to do that is because rich people have money. So let's work out how we can get some of that money. So why do we want to do this? Well, the golden rule of marketing is don't sell to people that don't have money. Or put a little less affectionately, don't sell to broke people. That's unless it's a commodity, of course, and it's something that they really need. But in most markets, we can really benefit from going after people that have got a lot of money. But what do I mean by rich? Let's just get into some definitions. It's really two different things when we're thinking about your marketing. One, it's people that have like a higher net worth. And two, it's people that have shown that they'll actually spend money. So they actually have like discretionary money that they can spend on products. So it really depends what market you're in. But I'm going to show you how this really applies to me. What this works really good for is for leads, for example, which I'm going to give you a really good example. Also works in e-commerce. Sometimes you've got a product which is a little bit in the luxury zone, or it's just you just really don't want the bottom of the barrel. And it works great for agencies, especially if you're on some sort of commission, and you're incentivized to get higher spending clients and so forth as well. So an example of that would be if you are bringing in leads in an agency model, and part of what you get is a performance bonus based on how much the client ends up spending. Then it's really important that you bring in leads of high quality that are going to be worth quite a bit. If you're on a flat rate, it doesn't really work. So if you're paid per lead, regardless of quality, like you're getting $50 a lead and it doesn't matter if it's a good one or a bad one, then yes, it might keep the client happy if you were to use this tactic, but it is a little bit more expensive. But I'm going to show you some numbers because this is a tactic that I actively use. But yeah, they're a bit more expensive, so it's only worth that ROI. Like you're only going to get the ROI if you've got skin in the game, and you're going to get a benefit on the eventual sale and how much the person actually spends with you, or if they're making a transaction that their net worth will reflect. So why can't we just use Facebook's demographic data? Because I know they do have some data in there which basically says, net worth individuals over a certain amount or household income and all that kind of stuff. Well, firstly, it only really works in the USA. They don't have the data that great everywhere else. Two, I don't trust it that much because in the past when I've used it, it's worked far less effectively than the tactics that I'm going to show you today. And number three, if anybody's been watching, I'm sure you've kind of seen it everywhere in the marketing world, Facebook's clamping down on a lot of things to do with privacy. And one of those things is partner data. So no longer can you get that partner data from Axiom and Experian and all that kind of stuff. You're not going to be able to use it now, and they're just really clamping down on custom audiences and all that kind of stuff. So we've really got to think outside the box, and I'm trying to stay a little bit ahead of the curve here. And I've got some great tactics. So now we just need to think a little bit outside the box. So first example, the mortgage industry. As many of you know, I'm really heavily involved in the mortgage industry. I generate mortgage leads in a number of different countries, predominantly in Australia and Canada. What I'm going to show you is an example in Canada where I'm just going to be straight up with you guys. Don't tell anyone, like keep this in the group. But so I get 40% of the broker commission. So if they get $10,000 in commission from a lead that I pass them, I keep $4,000. And so a big mortgage equals a big commission. And so it's directly proportional. So if I can get people that have got larger mortgages, I'm just going to make more money. But this would apply to mortgage industry, real estate industry. There's so much you can do with this, and I'm just going to show you what I do, and then you can kind of apply it to your own industry. The other thing is, just for a bit of context, rich people generally have more equity in their home, more security, so it's easier to get loans together. Even if they've got bad credit, they'll typically have more equity, which means it's easier to get the deals together, according to the brokers that I work with. So they basically said, look, don't worry too much about credit. We can get the deal together with credit. What more matters is that they've got a really expensive property. So that's what mattered to me, and so that's why I've come up with this strategy. So the result of me changing my targeting. So before, the average broker fee that we're kind of getting was $3,000 to $4,000. After implementing this strategy, the average is over $10,000. Like it's more than triple, and double the close rate as well. So what we found was that extra bit of equity led to much better deals. It also kept out the people that were the real bottom of the barrel. So people who only wanted a $100,000 loan for a $200,000 property in that. And I'm going to show you in a bit, like in the Canadian mortgage market, there are those really cheap properties, and we just wanted to stay away from those. So, last week we closed a $15,000, well, it was $14,600 Canadian dollars, broker commission deal just with this method, just using this style of ad. So the strategy, really simply, is target rich suburbs. But that's not enough, because there's a couple of ways you can do this. So when you go in and you're specifying a location, you can put a suburb and then it'll make you do a 10-mile radius. Or you can actually drop a pin and it'll let you go all the way down to a 1-mile radius, which is really powerful. And so this will work for gyms and stuff like that if you want to get really specific. Now, you can do suburb level only, but even then, if you look at a lot of suburbs, they've got expensive properties and cheap properties. And so why would we want to get the balance when we could just get the best of the best? So I just needed to get smarter about this than everyone else who's just doing this blanket targeting. And even if they're going after suburbs, they're targeting the whole suburb, and they're getting the cheaper properties as well. So, let's take this Toronto, Canada as an example. It's only slightly more expensive to laser target the rich areas. So here's just some leads that I've got. So you can see the one at the top is, and I'm using the canvas hack, which I've shown it earlier. So I'm being very transparent with you guys. Like, if you want one of you goes and tries to compete with me, you'll probably do pretty well. But you can have a look here. Bad credit, rich areas. 14 leads, $9.30 a lead. And then I've got just bad credit V2. So it's basically the same thing. But I'm not targeting the rich areas. I'm just going broader. I got 9 leads and they're $6.44. So I'm only paying a little bit more. What's that, 30% more? But I know that they're going to be way, way higher quality leads. And I'll show you that because we start with a heat map. So you can see here, this is the property prices for Toronto, Canada. So this is exactly where I started. I just literally Googled this. I found a heat map and I went, okay, well, because I don't know the area. I've never even been to Canada, right? I own this chunk of a brokerage. I've got a company formed over there. I've never even been. And so I don't know the geography. I don't know the demographics. So I can learn a lot from just pulling up a heat map like this. And so you can see all these blue areas, and there's a shitload of them, are $300,000 to $400,000 properties. But then we got these red areas, and they're like over 1.9 million. Like, there's all these $2 million properties. Like, the commission is going to be 6-7 times as much. So that lead value is 6 or 7 times as much. Plus, they close better. Like, these are just significantly better leads. I haven't been doing this that long, but it's just worked so well. And so I'll also be willing to take these green areas where they're $1 million homes. I just really want to make sure I'm not hitting these $300,000, $400,000 homes because they just never have the equity, and it's just such a low value deal. Plus, also you want to keep the people happy. So if you're imagining a sales guy getting handed leads and he's getting all these dud leads at a low value and all that, he's not going to be too happy. You give him some good leads and he's just getting the great stuff. He's going to be enthusiastic about what he's doing. He's just going to perform better, and just everybody's happier. So I start with this heat map. And then what I do is I jump in and I make my Facebook ad, and I'll actually drop a shitload of pins. And as you can see here, I've literally dropped like 50 1-mile radius pins. I've just gone absolutely crazy with it. And I'm just warning you, like, close every other window and tab when you do this, because it slows the fuck down of your computer, because it's just, smashing this map when you're dropping these pins. But that's, as you can see, there's a very similar area to the heat map. So it's all these little 1-mile pins, and I'm just dropping those. And so if I compare this, you can see like this shape that goes, like, it's this big area here that's really good, and then it goes down and around, and then down the bottom here as well is also more expensive properties. Now, this is not the only heat map I looked at. I looked at a number just to make sure, but I just wanted to show you, you can kind of see that I've just really placed my pins around the expensive areas. And that's how I do it. So I'm literally just targeting the rich areas. So I also combine it with other targeting. So sometimes broke people will live in rich areas. Typically, though, they'll still be living at home. It's quite common. So I do my age range over 35. So normally I'd go like over 25. They're normally eligible for a mortgage. But in a rich area, I know that the odds of them owning a home in that area, it's over 35. It's probably over 40, to be honest. But I start with 35, and I go to 55 because in mortgages, if you get like a 65-year-old, well, they're going to be dead before they can pay the mortgage off. So the banks just don't want them. So then I go into detailed targeting, and as I said, I'm being very transparent here. This is the interest-based that I use. It is quite broad, but then I'm also combining it with demographics targeting. So I'm going education level. So I only want people who are a college grad, a doctorate, master's, or a professional degree. I'm literally only going college grads. Now, obviously, I never went to college. I think it's full of shit, but it is... You know, it's statistically, it's a fact. They're going to be more likely to be wealthy if they've got a college degree. You could literally just go to postdoctorates and stuff like that if you wanted to go super laser targeted. If they live in a rich area and they've got a PhD, you can be damn sure they've got a big mortgage. So I combine all of that together, and then I also call out their property value in the ad. So now the thing is, like, as I said, like, we're fine with bad credit, like, because they're going to have a heap of equity. They might have made some shitty decisions when they're younger. Like, in Canada, you can, apparently, like, you can just miss a phone bill and that'll affect your credit. It's not like that here in Australia. But yeah, we get all these people who've got bad credit and they have a heap of equity in their home, and they're just, the banks are saying no because they've tightened up lending over there. So we want these bad credit, but we also want them to have properties that are worth over $1 million. So we say Canada's easiest loans, jumbo loans, properties $1 million plus get amazing rates. And then in the ad, we're going, when the banks say no, we say yes. It's one of my top performing ads of all time. And then Toronto's best loans for bad credit. So I'm also calling out the suburb, not the suburb, the city that they're in, and that obviously helps as well. So they're going, yes, holy shit, this is perfect for me. I've got $1 million plus property. I'm going to get these amazing rates because of that, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just really talking to them. So you combine all of that stuff together and you start getting way higher quality leads. So I don't have to spend much. Now, obviously, you've got a limited scale with this, but why would you want all those shitty leads anyway? Just max out the area, go hit other cities, you know, like just with whatever you're doing. If you can target the rich people and literally only focus on ROI rather than scale to start with, then you'll do a lot better. Because this was just a side hustle. Like, this was just a little project. I didn't want to put much money into it, but I want to make sure that I'm only giving high quality leads. I'm not paying for a bunch of junk. So that's it for leads. But what about ecom? Because I know a thing or two about that as well. So firstly, not that long ago, Facebook, they've enabled, so as you know, you can upload a customer file and create a custom audience. And then from that, you can do a lookalike audience. And that's all well and good. You want to get more people like your clients. But then they started doing this thing called include LTV, which stands for lifetime value, the customer lifetime value, for better performing lookalikes. So it's basically saying, we'll skew this so we show your ads to people who are more like your better customers. So we're going to make it more focused on the ones who spend the most money. And so that does work. We've tested this. It helps. Like, it's okay, but it's not foolproof. It's pretty new functionality, and I just don't think they're nailing it. So then I take it a little bit further. What I found is more effective. So I do use that LTV audience. I do start with that LTV lookalike audience, but then I also make a second audience, and I will get my bottom of the barrel 50% shittiest customers. These are people who refunded. These are people who payment declines, or they only spent for like 1 week and then they left because subscription product. This is for a weight loss company I own. So I would get like the shittest customers. I've helped a lot of people do this in other industries too. You grab the shittiest customers and you make a lookalike of those as well. Then what I do, when I'm setting my targeting, I'll include the LTV audience, and then I'll exclude the shitty lookalike audience. So I might do a 1% lookalike audience, 1% LTV audience lookalike, and then I might go the shitty audience lookalike, and I'll exclude all of these ones. So I would have still been targeting these, even though they're heaps like my shitty ones. And then what I end up with is the gold, which is just this green area. And as you can see from my beautiful Venn diagram, that's where the green is, that's where the money is. So this is just a way where you can enhance the functionality that Facebook's giving you, and just make sure you're not getting more people like the shitty customers. I do believe Facebook's got way too much data on us, and it's awesome for us as advertisers, but I don't always trust their new stuff when it comes to like how they present it to us in the ads platform. Sometimes, like, I'm sure it'll work great eventually, but it often doesn't. So if you can supplement it and you can add a couple of strategies together, you're just going to get better targeting. So that's what I do. Here's just a bonus hack. Look, just a really quick note. This is completely theoretical. Like, for another week, we're going to know in like a week. It's so related to this hack that I just wanted to get this in here. So one of our amazing team, one of the new hack every week family, Dr. Richard Eisner. He sells a referral system for LASIK surgeons, the eye doctor. So he is one, but then he built this referral system, and now it works great for him, and now he's selling that to other eye doctors because it's just such an amazing system. And so if you think you can find LASIK surgeons or you want to team up with him, I would highly recommend it because he's shown me through the system and it's fucking great. So just a bit of a plug for him there. But I had a strategy call with him the other day, just because he had this bit of an idea and he wasn't sure how to execute it, and then we came up with this strategy, and this is what he's going to go and implement. And I would say give this a try anyway and just test it if you've got a potential use. So his target market are all going to be in the one place at the same time. It's a conference. So whenever there's a conference, it's like all of your target market in one place. Now, obviously he's going to go there and do all the traditional stuff you do at a conference, and he's got a lot planned out. That's all great. But here's just something to chuck on top of that. The plan is this: laser target the convention center. So if you want to do this, you drop the pins so it only covers the convention center. Now, as we know, when you drop a pin with Facebook ads, it's got a minimum of a 1 mile radius, and a convention center is not 1 mile, it's a lot bigger than that. So then we use exclusion pins to get below the 1 mile radius, and I'll show you a diagram. I'll show you exactly how to do this. Then we combine it with interest and demographics so that we make sure we're only targeting the people we want. They're of the right age and the right, they like the same stuff, demographic and all that. And then we do the traveling at location targeting. So we don't want people who live there, we want people who are only traveling there right now. So this is how it would look to target. And so I've just picked my hometown, the convention center there. You can see I've dropped, they've got this 1 mile radius. Then I've done these exclusion pins which actually eat into it. And so they'll make sure that I'm not hitting many people there. I'm not hitting anybody within those exclusions. And so I end up with this tiny little section, which, as you can see, the estimated audience size is only 1,200 people because this is people traveling in this location. So 1,200 people, and that's with broad age and all that kind of stuff. Now, Richard, unfortunately, where he's doing it, the convention center, it's in Washington, and it's like really, a lot of people travel there. So it really depends. But I'm just saying, he's going to get the results from this campaign. But I just wanted you to get your head around it as well, because based on what I've been able to achieve with this dropping pins strategy to target rich people, I think this is a really good shot at working. And even if it doesn't work for him, I would still say one more person should try it because it's not dead until it's been tested a couple of times. That's it, guys. So if you have any questions about how to do this in your niche, just hit me up, hit it in the comments, PM me. I am here to help. Talk soon, guys.